Hey, what is going on, everybody? Boilon here, back for another video on Marvel Strike Force. And in today's video, I want to talk about some hints that were found in the data mines talking about the Fantastic Four. Now, some of this stuff we kind of knew a little bit already. I believe it was mentioned in one of the previous Strike Spot videos with Ryan Jacobson when they were doing that, the stuff of the Age of Annihilus. I believe it was slipped there as well. So that's not a huge surprise, but we're going to take a look at that, and we're going to kind of speculate what could be happening this summer, because you guys know that the Fantastic Four movie is around the corner in July, is it? So this team is going to be coming pretty soon. Now, I also want to talk about the new characters, of course, that have been popping up, that did pop up in the game yesterday. I didn't get a chance to talk about this because the video that I put out yesterday was before the store reset, but we do have the brand new Thunderbolts characters and Quasar in the game. I want to take a look at their stats actually a little bit as well, because I was kind of taking a look at Quasar, and I guess it's probably more into his kit. I'll be honest, it's a pretty long kit. But I was a bit less impressed with his stats as like one of the new era. I guess Shadow King's a new era legendary, but Quasar is like a new era legendary, and I was a bit surprised how low some of his stats were. So we're going to break down some of this stuff in today's video. So let's boil this down. But before we get started today, was that Cyclops laser beams? Can we talk about how Hyperion looks like Henry Danger? You guys know who Henry Danger is? It's like a kids show, but I think it's on the Disney Channel or something. But I was watching this with my nephew before I left for Germany, and this is just, I don't know, this version of Hyperion looks like Henry Danger, and then there's some Cyclops I-beam going on. I'll be honest, I don't know all of his powers, like maybe that's what he normally does, but I'm getting some Cyclops vibes here with the optic blast there, but there we go. And as far as the model for Quasar, it is a pretty cool model. I'm going to give him that the art department at least did well with the legendary character, thankfully. I'm not super big on the Hyperion model. I also really do like Songbird. I also like the Songbird model, and I like the Songbird avatar icon, because sometimes the art is a bit wonky when it comes to some of these things. But I think Songbird is actually the best character of the art of the patch. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments down below. I'm not a big fan of Victoria Hand, big fan of Victoria Hand. I think if you were to zoom in, it just, the face, something about the face looks very pixely, and it just doesn't seem as good graphically. Sometimes it's just miss on the faces in terms of the characters, but I actually do think that the way that they have the facial structure on Songbird is a lot better. I think it is definitely the best version. I think Victoria Hand almost looks a bit cartoony, but a bit more cartoony, and Hyperion definitely kind of has that look. But I would say Quasar and Songbird for sure are the best looking characters of this patch. I also do really like the glowy purple. I don't know her entire power structure in terms of like what she does. That's probably part of her kit or part of her abilities. But anyways, looks cool anyways, nonetheless. Now, one thing that I do want to point out really quickly here at the beginning of the video is the raids. Now, what's interesting is now you're starting to get, oh, it's still there. Okay, that's weird, because I swear when I looked yesterday, it wasn't actually there. So we are still getting some Silver Sable orb fragments, and now we're getting the Hitmonkey Path, the Hitmonkey orb fragments in here as well. I swear yesterday I didn't get a payout for the Silver Sable, but I was going to say, because this was going to be a minute of my video, but I guess it's not really a big deal anymore. But now, I need to do my raids actually, but you go to difficulty 5, you can see that they were both on the nodes. I swear yesterday I didn't see the Path to Silver Sable in the rewards payout. Anyways, there we go. You're getting both of those now. That is good. And I also want to talk about the data mines very slightly, and this in particular. Now, you might see this. This was a battlefield effect that was data mined yesterday when the patch went through. It's basically titled Icon Battlefield Fantastic, or F4 or something like that. The file name for it, Icon Battlefield F4. So it's a Fantastic Four battlefield icon. Now that's pretty important, because that does suggest that somebody on this new Fantastic Four team, well, is going to put on a battlefield effect. But we haven't seen a battlefield effect from a regular character in some. Can you filter that? I don't think you can. There's no filter for like battlefields, are there? No, there should be for all the characters that put out battlefield effects. But I'm almost certain, with the exception of Null, right? Null is like the only one that I can think of that is not a mythic character or a legendary character that puts out, wherever the hell my Null is, that puts out a battlefield effect. So Null is neither of those things. So somebody on this Fantastic Four team is going to put out a battlefield effect. Now there is also I don't I guess at this point it's got to be a rework to the Human Torch. This has been mentioned. I'm almost certain that the Human Torch is going to be on this team. Now, I guess we're just assuming that he's being reworked for the team and it's not a new Human Torch at this point. Because if we go back and look at the Fantastic Four tag, right, all the characters that have been reworked, Mr. Fantastic was on the Illuminati last year, Invisible Woman, obviously in the Mighty Avengers pretty recently. And Thing is pretty old now at this point, but was on the new Avengers. I don't know if they're going to rework both of them. They very well could rework both Thing and Human Torch, because realistically, there's going to be only 2 reworks maximum on this new team, unless they go with like a Mighty Avengers style. But I highly doubt it after already doing that. I doubt they're going to do that twice within a 12-month span, or at least that close together, anyways. And so we could expect at least a Human Torch rework and maybe another inclusion of the Thing. It has been quite a bit of time since the new Avengers. So that's definitely within the realm of possibility. They could also throw another character on there as well. And there's going to be some new characters onto this team as well. And I think as far as where it's going to line up, it's going to be post Hellfire Club. So at this point, I think we're looking at Hellfire Club, and then for June, and then for Fantastic Four, basically for July. I'm pretty sure that's when the movie's coming out. I really hope I can find a cinema that shows movies that in my area by then. I think I should be in Frankfurt then, so it should be a lot easier to find English language movies, because I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to see Thunderbolts or not, and that still bothers me a little bit. But I'll have to make the trip over there if I really, really want to see it. I don't want to wait for Disney Plus and all that stuff. But anyways, I digress a little bit there. So let's talk about the Fantastic Four, right? There are other characters that we don't have that have been members of the Fantastic Four that could be on there. Frankly, there's characters even from this list that are not even mentioned, like the family members, right? The former members, but Valeria Richards, Franklin Richards. A lot of people are really hoping that Franklin Richards comes to the game, so that very well could be a thing too. But there were like other Marvel characters that were also on this that they could potentially do as well. The former members. I mean, there was a relationship, if I'm not mistaken, between Crystal, the Inhumans, and Human Torch. So actually, if we go back to that could be a possibility. I don't know if they'll do that, but they could do like a Human Torch and Crystal rework with some new characters. Crystal, the Inhumans have been shat on for ages, because like they just never had any reworks. Nobody cared about them, and they've been lying dormant for pretty much forever. I mean, I guess Miss Marvel had the Young Avengers, but the true OG Inhumans were like Black Bolt, Yo-Yo, Crystal, Quake, and Karnak when they released it way back when. So they could do something here. I guess that's a possibility in terms of reworked characters. But when you look at the kind of the list of the other ones, oh, I mean, like Medusa, Moon Girl, and Devil Dino. This seems unlikely. Nova, is that? I don't know who this is. Frankie Ray, I don't know who that is. Power Man, Luke Cage, She-Hulk. Well, that already happened, actually. She-Thing, have no idea who this is. Spider-Man? OG Spider-Man? Maybe. I saw him in a comic not too long ago in the last couple of years related to the Fantastic Four as well. But the other ones don't seem that likely to me. So I would be curious what your guys' thoughts are for this new Fantastic Four team that's going to be primed for the summer. I kind of hope that they would bring in Franklin Richards, because he's not actually there on that page. But Franklin, he is super powerful, of course, but he could be. Now we know the legendaries, right? We saw the photos of the legendaries, and I don't think the Fantastic Four is going to be part of that, because it looked like the second one was going to be like, what was it, Blastar, and third one could have been this guy named Thunderstrike. So I don't know if at this point I don't know if any of the Fantastic Four characters are going to be in for the legendaries. Maybe it could be for Battle World 2 though. Franklin Richards for Battle World 2. I mean, I guess that would be weird then for having a Battle World character that's also on a team. Unless it was 6 characters, and then they could just like, make a mega character kind of just slide into the team like that, kind of like how Null is also a symbiote. If Franklin Richards as a reality warper beyond this team, as the Battle World 2 character would be really cool. But we'll have to see more about that. So let me know what your thoughts are in the comments down below about what characters could be included in this upcoming Fantastic Four team. But we're probably pretty close if they're actually giving us a battlefield effect icon. That means it's probably not very far away that they're already starting to plan this. Hell, it could even come before the Hellfire Club. We'll have to wait and see about that in terms of what their plans to do for that. Now, I want to talk about the characters, the new characters, PS, Hyperion, Quasar, Songbird, and Victoria Hand, but I do want to kind of talk more about their stats a little bit. So I want to go to the stats table. Now, normally this is stuff that I would do in the Should You Core video, and we do have one coming for Victoria Hand, so I'm not going to focus too heavily here. I kind of want to talk more about Quasar, to be honest. So I'm going to do Purple Raider 3 as far as the stats go, just to calculate that. Yeah, I know there's diamonds. Try to ignore that. The actual number doesn't matter that much. I care more about like their position, their ranking. So in terms of the health for some of these new characters, one thing that you see right at the top is Hyperion is number 6. He's tied with the same amount of health as Null, which is quite interesting because he has a protector, so that's not super surprising. I don't remember. I didn't read the kit. Does Hyperion have taunt? He reduces the duration. Does he actually? Oh, he does taunt himself. Okay. I'll be honest. I didn't really read the Thunderbolts kits too much because I kind of do them as they come out because I don't want to know too much. I just assumed that there would be, but is that the only time he does actually gain taunt? He does do safeguard and stuff like this. And what I do like about this is that there's safeguard on all game modes, so that's nice. I haven't done a full kind of check on this character. There's more safeguard, but it seems that the taunt only actually happens this one time on the special. But it is on a cooldown of 3, so that's not terrible, I suppose. But it's just not a lot of taunt, I guess. But let's go back to the stats anyways. And where is Quasar? He's like not even there. He's down here at 24, which is quite shocking for a legendary character. So he's on par with Kahori for health. Now, I don't know if that says more about Kahori than it does about Quasar, but Kahori is a very powerful character. Now, Quasar. Quasar is a brawler, so he could be a glass cannon type character here in terms of damage, which very much could be a thing. But I guess for a legendary character, I was expecting him to have more than that because I'm pretty sure. Actually, where is Shadow King? Okay, I thought Shadow King actually had more than that. I was kind of surprised that he didn't. He's only there at 41. So I guess Quasar does have more health than Shadow King, so that's something. Let's go to the damage and check that out. Quasar is 11 in damage, tied with. See, I still feel that he should be a little bit higher. Like I feel like as one of the newest legendary characters, he should be somewhere up here, I would think. But he is kind of tied with some of these newer characters, tied with Songbird, tied with the Vigilantes characters and Lalandra. Like I feel like he should be up here somewhere in the top 5. Or maybe I'm just surprised that these characters have that much damage stat. Like Phoenix and Omega Red, they're 3 and 4 for damage stat. That's pretty wild. As far as armor goes, we have Victoria Hand at number 2, which is crazy for a support character, which means that she's not going, well, once she becomes farmable or, if you crack it out on her, she is not going down very fast. Also, Hyperion is number 5 as well, so some really tanky characters on this team. Quasar is number 9, though, so that's not bad. At least as a brawler, he is in the top 10. Quasar, as far as focus goes, is quite the fact that I have to scroll down there. Number 36 on focus isn't super amazing, and then on resistance he is top 10, so that's not bad. So his focus suffers a little bit, his health suffers a little bit. I mean, he's like top 30 or whatever I said, top 30, top 40 for health. I guess I just had an expectations on stats for the newest legendary character to be a little bit higher than that in the Age of Annihilus, but maybe that's just me. Obviously, the stats don't always mean everything, especially in this era of overpower. He is quite fast, though, at 129. Fast with same as Gore and some of these other characters, so he's in the top 15 there in speed. So overall, not too shabby. I mean, obviously, his kit is going to be pretty nutty, but he does have like 3 empowered abilities, so I don't really like that. I mean, that was in the data mines as well. I mean, we already knew this, but yeah, there's the passive, the ultimate, and the basic, so basically everything other than the special essentially has awakened abilities, and that is associated with war offense. Interestingly, it's not war, it is specifically war offense. That one's a little bit disappointing, not surprising, but a little bit disappointing anyways, because it's more like Old Man Logan, I suppose, where a lot of that was tied to war offense. I'm not the biggest PvP person, but I would have more appreciated if it was just generally in war that way. Now, as far as the kick, I actually really like Victoria Hand. We're going to save this, though, towards the video for her. I actually really do like her kit. That being said, I'm pretty low on cores, and I don't know if that's going to be a priority. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to or not, actually. I do want to point out the uniques for these characters if you didn't know, though. We have Shield Tech for Victoria Hand. Now, this might be a problem for some people because Daredevil Modern was also Shield Tech, so if you took him up to gear tier 20, then you might be a little bit low on those Shield Techs. For Songbird, we do have Titanium Alloy. You should be okay on that one, I think. But both Hyperion and Quasar are Quantum Energy. Now, that's something that is going to be a bit rough, especially because these are characters probably you will eventually take to gear tier 20. So that's going to be 43 for each of them. So hopefully you have enough for this by the time, of course, that we're able to G20 more characters. Now, one thing I want to point out, hopefully they fix this. They have this description of Hyperion that says that is Wendell Vaughn. Wendell Vaughn is Quasar, of course, so hopefully they'll correct that sometime soon. So that's just it. A little brief rundown here at the start of the week here on Tuesday. I want to know what your thoughts are in the comments down below about the upcoming Fantastic Four, and what are your thoughts about this Thunderbolts Bio Raid team? Now, my biggest complaint is that they did not rework all the Thunderbolts. They're all there, right? You know, all the ones in the movie, they're all in the game, and yet they only decided to do Taskmaster and Ghost. Also, Ghost stats are a little bit lower than the rework. I was a little bit less impressed about that, but Taskmaster probably going to blow people out of the water, and you can use them right now in Underworld if that's still a team that you're using in Alliance War. If you have the brand new stats on Taskmaster, throw him into Underworld, throw him into Alliance War, and you're probably going to blow people up pretty quickly, especially if you have Overpower to do that 50% extra damage. So there you go. That's the end of this video, everyone, and I'll see you guys on the next one. And if you like this video, make sure you hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and you'll be greatly helping out the channel. Have a great day, and I'll see you guys on the next one.